Everyone. Welcome to our daily word. It is Friday, December 18th of the year 2020. Little foggy and a little snow this morning, but it's a beautiful morning. Glad you could join us for a few minutes today as we spend some time together. Just a couple of reminders that Sunday morning worship is at 10:15 here on Facebook Live. And also Sunday night at 6 o'clock is our Blue Christmas service. It is a time of lament, a time of remembering, of lighting candles, of sharing in communion, of remembering losses that we've had in the past year. And losses come in all kinds of shapes and names and sizes. So I hope you'll join us for that at 6 o'clock. You can join us on Facebook Live or via Zoom. And those things were in your email today. So if you haven't read your email from me, take a look at that today. You can find the login information. Also, if you haven't brought back your Advent boxes, you can bring those back. We're going to begin distributing those. We're going to bless them actually during worship on Sunday. We have many up in the sanctuary. You'll see them on the screen on Sunday. And we're going to bless them, and then we're going to begin distributing them to people who need them and around our neighborhood and community. So if you haven't brought your boxes back, there's still time to do that. And we'll begin passing those out this week. So that's exciting to be able to do. So I've chosen this morning just a couple of verses. These two verses from Luke 1 are part of Mary's song that we've heard before, the whole of it that we've heard before. I did it on Wednesday night a couple of weeks ago, and we've heard all of it, but these two particular verses jump out at me as we head now headlong into Christmas. You know, next week, many things begin to change in the Christmas calendar and all the things that demand our attention. So I've chosen these verses for us today. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. Now, if you were to read the entire context of Mary's song, as we have, you'll know that Mary in her life recognizes what's happened to her. The angel Gabriel has appeared to her, has told her this news. And it's interesting to me, if you would put yourself in Gabriel's shoes, if you could. So here's the angel sent by God to Mary to tell her this news. And so the angel Gabriel gives her this news: Mary, in your very young state, here's what's going to happen to you. And Mary says, how can this be? You know, how can this happen to me? And the angel Gabriel says to her an interesting thing. He says to her, do not be afraid. Even while the angel Gabriel probably looks at her and goes, man, if I was this girl, I would be afraid. And so you can read this whole bit of Mary's song, but she understands then, after this long thinking about who God is and this amazing call on her life, she gives this long thing about who this child will be and how this child that she's carrying will then change the world. And she gets to these two verses, and I thought about these verses today based on the situation that we live in our world. So I just looked, and they said that lawmakers are staying up late at night trying to hammer out this stimulus package, whatever that means, and all these fights that are going on politically in our world. It's exhausting to think about. And the amount of calls that I get, and it's really interesting this year, folks who have called and say, Jim, can you help us? Can you help us? And so it's been an amazing thing to say, yep, we have these food boxes, we have hams, and we'll have bread, and you can come get what you need. And that list is rather interesting this year. So Mary says to us that this Jesus who we celebrate on Christmas, this Jesus who the angel Gabriel said would come to her, she understands that God then, because of this, well, hear the words again. He's shown strength with his arm. He scattered the proud in the thoughts of their hearts. He has brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. It's a reminder to me that in each generation, all the way back to Mary, all the way back to 2,000 plus years ago, the generation then was faced with tyranny and equality and famine and oppression. And the entire Roman world had to go register because it was a tax. In the entire Roman world, the government said, look, here's what you're going to do, and you have to make your way. And in each generation, that happens to us, right? We face these hardships and these things that find their way into our lives that are difficult. This year's no different, and maybe this year's not different. We add on this pandemic maybe, but this year's really no different. It's a reminder to us that this God who loved the world so much sent Jesus to the world to break apart the powerful, to fill up the hungry and the lowly with good things. And it's interesting to me that while each generation, and we ourselves live in this generation where we face tyranny and inequality and famine and oppression, and the list goes on. In each generation, then, we have the opportunity and the responsibility to do our part to knock them down. And part of what we do together when we gather for worship, when we have the courage to light our candle, and we do it every single week, when we have the courage to do that, and to lift our voices in song in the darkest of places, we're knocking down, we're scattering the power that seemingly is around us. Sometimes we succeed and other times we fail. But what's interesting is we have the opportunity to try again and again and again. I marvel when I walked in the sanctuary early this morning. I think there are 30 boxes full of food, all kinds of really good things up in the sanctuary. And hams are starting to come in, and my refrigerators here are starting to fill with hams. And we have the opportunity, and it's an amazing opportunity, to change the lives of some people, even in a small way, with a box or two of food and the way to make a difference in their lives. I've thought about this, and I've been doing this a really long time. And this past year, I've learned more about what it means to be a pastor in this past year than I've ever known in my entire life. And it's exhausting and it's tiring and it's lonely, but it's also a reminder, in all of this, that you and I together, worshiping together, sharing food together, reaching out to those around us, we have the opportunity, and we face the opportunity and the responsibility to do our part. And we will, and we are. And so Mary reminds us that it really is God who comes to us, who makes a difference in our lives, who changes us and then has the opportunity through us to change the world. And so God's strong arm works in me and works in you. And Mary understood that about who this baby was, and we should understand too that God has the power to do that in our lives. And so I pray that you'll take your responsibility seriously, that you'll hear God's voice as it speaks in these ways, and that we might together make a difference in the world. So thank you for joining me today. Join me Sunday morning at 10:15, Sunday night at 6 o'clock, next Wednesday night at 6 o'clock, as we will do some parking lot carols. Look, we're going to do it no matter what the weather is, okay? If the weather's bad, you can stay in your cars, but we're going to do this either way, and I'll figure out how to stay dry or stay warm or whatever the case may be. We're going to do it either way. So I pray you'll know of peace today. Peace that passes understanding, peace that reminds you that God's present with you. I pray you'll know God's love deep inside your hearts and deep inside your lives. And I pray you'll know God's love in a real and powerful way, and that you'll know my love for all of you as well. So have a great day. Keep warm, and we will look forward to seeing you Sunday morning, Sunday night, and then again at Monday morning here at 10 o'clock. Have a great day and a great weekend.